you are a fraud. Like, how you calling yourself the Get You Right Guru and you ain't got right yet? Like, how does that even work? First, passion public service announcement. Passionate. Let me tell you something. So what is this Passion PSA podcast? Who am I? Well, they call me Passion, short for passion no last necessary. Why is there no last name necessary? Because the first name says it all. I am Passion and all that embodies. What do I do here? I give you the life coaching that you know you need, but don't enroll yourself in. When did I start? Actually, 2017. I'd leave a PSA on my Instagram regarding something I'd observed, and now we've evolved to this. Why do I do it? Why not? If even one person is able to take away one thing that changes their life, someone else's life, or changes the world for the better, then I've done what I was charged to do. So come on in, sit and listen for a while. There's something here for everyone at the Passion PSA podcast. Greetings and salutations, my beloved passionate newcomers, visitors, and guests. Welcome to another episode of the Passion PSA podcast, where I, Passion No Last Necessary, your Get You Right Guru, issue a weekly public service announcement about whatever I have observed or was on my mind. This is a for your consideration zone where the objective is to offer you a perspective you may not have previously considered to A, expand your thinking, and B, aid you in becoming a better version of yourself, and for others. This is a safe space, but not necessarily a delicate one. I will never rob you of your right to feel what you feel, the same way I will not sugarcoat the truth to make it more palatable. The goal is to get you to higher, more expanded thinking so that you can operate as your highest and best self. If you are new here, affirmations are our first order of business before we get into it, so that we intentionally raise the vibration and ensure that if what I say stings, disturbs, or irritates you in any way, we have started on the highest possible vibration and same frequency. If you're ready, go ahead and take a deep breath. You are always welcome to repeat after me or to use this time to state your own affirmations. It's not as bad as it seems. I honor the need to pause. I communicate effectively. I respond gracefully. I listen to understand. I have healthy relationships. I maintenance my relationships regularly. I am supported. I am loved. I have all that I need. I am grateful. It is well. I am well. All is well. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Passioners, we got to get straight into it because I know some of you are wondering from the title alone how I could play myself and be a fraud, and then how I could allow myself to be exposed as one, especially if you've been here for a while or from the beginning. I speak all the time about preferring to be the one who tells my story than leaving someone else the power to tell it and skew it and have me looking like a complete monster. So story time. Now, y'all know that I'm the one woman behind what one woman does. And that's a flex when you're one woman with one responsibility. But when you have one job and one business, and your one business has multiple moving parts that require equal attention, and often each part requires so much time, being a one-woman operation can feel extremely daunting and overwhelming. You can't be serious becomes magnified when things go kablooey pow pow at the worst possible time, even when you took more than enough steps for everything to go smoothly. Some can empathize and will really feel compassion when you don't show up as expected or as planned. Others will decide you're unreliable or you're not trustworthy because you don't deliver as you say you will or when you say you will. And that's a kiss of death when you're building a company or a brand, because you can't afford to lose customers when you don't have volume. So last week's episode was a kablooey pow pow situation. While reviewing for editing, the episode freezes at like an hour and 20 to 30 minutes into the episode. I don't know why, but I decide, okay, I'm not going to trip. I'm going to leave it be. I'm going to reach out to support if the issue persists, which it did. So I try to wrestle with it further, the next day, only to find out the issue is not self-correcting, right? I'm trying not to lose my cool over this because it's not like I don't have the time to complete the editing and get it posted, but I also have a slew of other things that require my attention. I get a message asking if it's okay to make a suggestion for the pod. I agree, and then wait to see what the suggestion was. So I get the suggestion, which wasn't a bad one or a wrong one, but it's also not something I haven't thought of or tried. And there are reasons why it hasn't been implemented more consistently. All right, let me paint a more complete picture. I'm in the middle of trying to troubleshoot this episode glitch that, if it can't be resolved, will mean that about an hour of the episode is lost and some key information. Now, it's 12. I got to be to work at 4. I have a class at 7, and I have additional work that I need to do for my class as well. So I have roughly 3 hours to work with, roughly 5 time-consuming things to work on, and here is yet another person suggesting more work, but not offering a hand to get that work done. Y'all, I didn't even have the bandwidth to deal with it, okay? We chatted briefly, and then I said, I love you, but I need to walk away from this conversation right now. I know that this was observed, shared with the best of intentions, but it has yielded a very deep emotional response, and I need to work through my feelings. Love you. We'll talk another time. Now, I message my confidant and I take down the veil. I send screenshots of the messages so that my confidant has full context, right? Because documentation beats conversation every day. I say to confidant, I know this was sent in love. I know the intention was to offer help. I know friend wants to see me win. I know all of that. But this is how people want to help me. They don't comment on episodes. They don't thumbs up. They don't share. They slide in my inbox and tell me I'm not doing enough and I need to do more. As I stay up nights trying to figure out why an hour into a 2.5-hour episode, the recording froze. An episode that I can't re-record because it was a guest episode. As I'm physically rebuilding a space. As I do everything to hold myself accountable, there's always someone not doing anything to add manpower to the situation, telling me how I can be greater. I'm sitting here in tears right now. Then I say, so I exited the conversation to cry in peace. I barely know what I'm doing. I'm doing everything I can. Most days I'm struggling with the technology. I tell the true story so people know, and it doesn't matter. It's never enough. I don't even have the time I need to do all the things I need to do. And then someone comes to tell me what more I could do with devices that aren't working with me and internet that also works against me when I'm outside of my home. Then I say, I just feel like God played the cruelest joke on me by making me the one who's always willing to offer hands, always willing to offer manpower, always willing to jump in and assist, but then gives me people who offer thoughts and talk and suggestions and hot air. Like, how is this just? Then I apologize for dumping, put the phone on Do Not Disturb, and continue fighting with the episode. Wait, time out, Passion. Hold up. Because don't you say comments, questions, concerns, commendations, criticisms, and critiques are welcome at the end of every episode? Yeah, you are a fraud. Like, how you calling yourself the Get You Right guru and you ain't got right yet? Like, how does that even work? First, rewind to all the times I've told you I'd rather be the one to call myself out than to get aired out by someone else. So yeah, I got exposed as a fraud by me. Next, I tell you all the time, I'm figuring it out as I go and teaching you what I've learned. So where I'm great or I'm strong, I'm definitely going to share it. And where I'm lacking or I'm weak, I'm going to share that also so that you can see I'm not out here self-aggrandizing. Also, even those who seem like they have their things together are out here down bad in one way or another at some time or another. So each week when I tell you that your feedback is welcomed and appreciated, that is 100% true. But that does not mean that it'll be celebrated when I receive it. Back to story time. The E in CEO is for executive. If I'm going to call myself an executive, I have to be able to execute. So I'm figuring out how to make things happen because time is moving even though the episode is not. I send some correspondences, do some negotiating to see if I can get my schedule altered to best support me for the next few weeks. Everybody's on board? Good. I'm on the line with support to see if we can get the episode editing resolved. We don't. And a week later, not only is the issue not resolved, it's worse. So you know they're about to hear it from me. But I'm at least able to get the episode up, which unto itself is a whole other beast because of the size of the file. In the midst of this, friend reaches back out to me to extend an olive branch, but I'm still going through it with this episode. So I can't even look at DMs, right? And this is why I've been so inactive on the gram. But when I do, right, and I listen to the message, now that I've had time to come in off the ledge and close the window behind me, collect my thoughts and tears, and at least get one thing resolved, I go back to the DMs, I listen to friend's message, and 15 voice notes from me later, I've responded to friend, I've spoken my truth, and I'm back to working on the things while awaiting friend's response. Here's where it gets amazing. Friend says, when I initially thought to reach out to you, I was going to suggest you give me this and I can help you with that. But I thought to myself, that's adding one more thing to her plate and she already has a lot to do. So let me just suggest X. Now I'm like, wait a Fraggle Rocket minute. You telling me that all you need is A and you'll do this part? Like you offering me manpower and not just more work with no extra resources to execute on said work? Say less. Tell me what you need and how soon you need it, because that would take an incredible load off my shoulders. Passioners, grab your pens and papers, okay? Because it's time for the public service announcement. Anyway, when you are triggered, you don't have to and absolutely should not immediately react. If you need to excuse yourself from the conversation, do so. If you need to tell the other person, listen, I am unable to can at this time, you can expect a response in 3 to 5 business days. Thank you for your patience. If that's what you need to tell them, do so. And if you're on the receiving end of that, I know that it can be challenging because if you're anything like me, your mind can create all kinds of scenarios and storylines that may all be 1000% inaccurate, but also could be spot on, and all you can do is wait. But receiver, if that's what they need, giver, if that's what you need, do what is necessary to properly gird yourself for a potential uncomfortable conversation. The conversation may be extremely uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be volatile. And if you respond when you're triggered, it will almost undoubtedly be volatile and possibly do irreparable damage. Number 2, it is more than okay to be honest about why you're excusing yourself. You know what? I can't talk about this right now because I don't have the bandwidth. This requires attention or time I can't give it right now. I don't want to respond in anger. Also, if you tell them you don't want to respond in anger and they insist on questioning why you're mad or why you would respond in anger, do not engage. There's a strong possibility it's going to push you further over the ledge. So where your feet were dangling before, now you're barely holding on by what's left of your fingernails. Don't do it. Some outbursts can be put behind, but some outbursts bring relationships to an immediate close. Okay? Number 3, if you ignore 1 and 2, you might miss out on the very thing you've been praying for. I wanted to go from what one woman does, she does it all, to what one woman does, onboards, hires, builds teams. What one woman does, struggles, is not a shirt I want to wear or sell. I have prayed for, believed for, and expected help. Hands, people willing to get in there with me and help me execute. People that are willing and able, because divine favor be on the lives of all of you who want to help but have no know-how. But a lot of the time, your sis really needs to be a follower. I don't always have the time to train, okay? You know the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I want to go far because fast be looking real slow when you're struggling, okay? Now, if I had blown up at friend and started performing, friend could have easily reacted in kind. So I took my time to present my feelings and reiterated that I completely overstood friend's intentions, but they weren't in alignment with my needs. Friend's response was, boom, get me these components and I got it from here. Thank you, most divine one, that I am currently living in answered prayers. Number 4, receptivity cannot always be measured by our own expectations. You know that kid that when they do something and you respond in a way they didn't expect, they say, no, you were supposed to do this and then I do that. It's kind of like that. I can remember having conversations with someone and I would feel like they weren't receptive to what I was saying, either because they were unresponsive, they were dismissive, or because they didn't act right away. And that's definitely more of a me issue than them, right? Once I give them the information, what they do with it is their business. If they don't heed wise counsel, no my problem that. If they don't implement, pues. But many take that, many being me and a few others, take that as a personal attack. Like the receiver not being receptive to or implementing their advice means they don't value what they've said. Whole time, them not responding or not responding the way we anticipated or expected was never an indication of unreceptiveness. It could very well have been that they were processing, figuring out how to tailor it to them in a way that makes sense to them, or their response wasn't predicated on your action or your offering, but on their disposition, right? Someone who is ecstatic about something and well rested sounds very different from someone who is equally ecstatic, but completely exhausted. 5, trust the relationships you've built. And if you're not sure if you can trust it, that's the real issue. I have relationships where I can have uncomfortable conversations and can take the room for the pause. I have relationships where name calling and disrespect aren't necessary or optional. I have relationships where we confront issues without mockery. Right? We don't try to belittle the other person for how they feel. We don't make backhanded remarks after the issue has been addressed. You know the ones, oh, let me not say this because we don't want you to get all bent out and say, the ones that antagonize you, then tell you need to lighten up because you're not amused by their clownery. We don't do those. I trust the relationships I've built and I leave room for imperfection. I leave room for human error. I leave room for plain old, I didn't know this would impact you this way. I apologize. Are your relationships built on solid foundations? And if not, you don't necessarily need to throw them away, but some structural repair will probably serve you well. Number 6, and then we're out of here. Friend covered all grounds except one. And side note, everything that I'm telling y'all, I've already discussed with friends. So there's no shade, no tea. Friend asked if it was okay to make a suggestion. Friend made the suggestion and gave support for the suggestion. I've observed this and feel like this element could give you a needed and deserved boost. Friend never presented it like I was doing something wrong or not enough per se. And I know that's what I said when I was talking to Confidant because I was so deep in my bag, I was coming out the seams, right? Friend presented it to say, you're checking all the boxes. And I think if you added this box to the checklist, you'd be in a much better position. All of this is what they teach you in books on effective communication. Go to therapy, and these will be the tools your therapist will give you for enhanced communication and decreased conflict. If you want to go a step further, lead with the question to see if what you're about to suggest is something they've already considered. Have you tried this? Have you thought about that? Why or why not? Now you know if the suggestion is even necessary. Yes, I've tried this, but I don't know what I'm doing. It took 12,000 hours last time I tried, and I don't have the patience to struggle with it, so I just do this. Yes, I want to do that, but that's an additional expense that I can't take on right now. No, I never thought about it. I never even knew that was a thing. Tell me more. No, I didn't know that, but I'm already drowning, and that would be like trying to save myself by going into deeper water. Now you know how to shape the suggestion so it offers the value receiver needs. I can do it for you. I actually found someone on Fiverr who does great work, and they only charge $D if you can fit that in your budget. Do you know how much it costs? Because I don't want to do it, or I don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to pay for it for you. If you make an offer they can benefit from, your input will almost always be welcomed. So know that, passionates, okay? Your feedback, will always be appreciated, even if it's not received well in the moment. There is room for your opinion and mine. So leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Send me a listener letter to my brilliant friend passion@gmail.com. Give me a thumbs up if you don't want to say anything at all, or you can always drop a megaphone in the comment section if you got some value from the episode. If you're not already subscribed, now's a great time to do so. Share this with your friends so you can help me help others help themselves. Donations can be made via Podbean, PayPal, Cash App, Linktree, or Zelle. All the links are in the description box. Every little bit helps. It all goes back into the pod. Also, make sure you're checking the description box before episodes for show notes that might benefit you and for discount codes. Your Get You Right Guru is signing off. Y'all go forth. Be great, be filled with bliss, be armed and empowered with knowledge. Be mindful of what you're suggesting and how you're posing it. Be receptive to what people are saying, even if you're triggered. If you are triggered, be honest about needing a moment to curtail your response. Be honest with yourself about how open you are to suggestions and criticisms. If anybody's going to call you out for being a hypocrite, it should be you. Let a man examine himself. In all things, be passionate. See you later.